Look at this. I love it.
Good to see you guys.
How you
Good to see
doing?
you. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
To avoid fainting.
I'm trying to read your
Oh
t-shirt.
yeah, there we go. Yeah, to avoid
Yeah,
fainting, just keep saying
Ah,
it's only a movie.
love it.
it's only a movie.
Words of advice from 1976 that still work today.
Yeah, exactly. Live my life by it.
Yeah.
I can see the fear in your eyes. You saw something you can't explain.
This way, rookie. Call's been rerouted to the new station, so it should be quiet. There's an emergency. The station's number's on the desk.
Shall be fun.
Hello?
Told us that Captain Lauren's daughter would be joining the department.
Yes, sir. Just want to work where my father worked, even if it's for one night.
He was a hero. Until he wasn't, you know?
Lanford Police Department.
You don't know what happened, but your father was no saint. Your daddy started something very important. Tonight we're gonna finish it.
The Temple Baron will bring forth the low god, and I will be Redeemer. Infinite Malum.
I can't do this anymore. Just get me out.
We pray in the temple of the low god.
All right. Well, I mean, what's it like to remake your own movie? I mean, so many people, so few people get that opportunity.
Yeah, it was cool actually. I mean, the Welcome Villain guys kind of approached me. I talked to Luke LeBeau early on, and he was like, "What do you think?" He really loved the first movie, and he was like, "What do you think about revisiting this world?" And I think Scott and I talked about it, and we thought let's do kind of a reimagining. And the thing that bummed me out about the first one, and I love that first movie, the only thing I was disappointed with is I felt like it was a theatrical movie. I felt like it was something that should be seen with an audience in a
Yeah.
theater. We kind of designed it that way, even though it was an independent, a lower budget independent film. I felt confident that was like a crowd pleaser for horror fans, and even mainstream people in a way, because it would scare them. So I think that was we knew we were going to do a theatrical run with this, and that was a big part of it. And like, how do we make it? How do we delve into the characters more? And that was
Yeah.
like the main thing is talking more about creating a new cult and their beliefs, and getting to really explore that in this movie, which I never really felt like I was making the same movie.
That's good.
Yeah. It helped out.
Yeah,
It
no,
is.
it's really. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, 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 no. It's okay. It really, I was gonna say it really truly is a reimagining because being on both sets, even, it's just different energy, a different vibe. And there's just so it's like, the story's just been opened up so more. There's a lot more layers, almost
Mhm.
like an onion. There's a lot of depth to it. And certainly being able to, have the opportunity to revisit that and, make it fresh and new. And
Yeah.
it it is a reimagining. I think that's like such a good word to describe it completely because it's
That was the welcome villain coin that
yeah.
phrase. They're like,
guys.
remake. They were very specific about when they launched the first announcement of reimagining, and the people were like, "What the hell does that mean?"
Well, I think in basic terms, if they got somebody else to direct it, that's a remake. If you direct it, that's a reimagining.
yeah, for sure. There
you go.
Exactly.
And I mean, honestly, it is really cool right now. It seems that we're getting more indie movies going theatrically anyway. You know, Skinamarink, Outwaters. I mean, even the Winnie and Pooh movie. But it's awesome that you're finally getting the opportunity to show that to a theatrical audience.
Yeah, because I think horror is like one of those, right? Like going to the drive-in. You want to watch horror movies with a crowd. I mean, obviously, Home Alone by yourself, dark room, you're gonna get scared. But like, there's a visceral experience watching a horror film with a crowd and hearing people scream and be like, really engaged.
Yeah, absolutely. Was there like, how did you approach the writing process for this? Like, did you immediately know what you wanted to do differently based on how The Last Shift went, or did you approach this like a wholly brand new movie?
It was at first, it was one of those things. Scott and I were like, yeah, sure. When we were finally like, okay, yeah, let's do this. And we were like, okay, we're gonna start writing a treatment. And I like to say the first treatment was like 6 pages of like crap. Like it's basically said like, okay, and then the first movie, blah, because we were trying to find our way into it. And also they were fans of the first one, so I'm gauging. Let me get their feedback. Let me, let's all be on the same page from the get-go, the villain team. And then it's like with and I was comfortable enough to be like, here's 6 pages of nonsense that basically just says, we're going to make the first movie again. Tell me what you like and what you don't like. And we were able to then, Scott and I were able to be like, distance ourselves. Like you start to just, as writers, you start to just get excited about like, oh, okay, wait, like, what if we did this and what if we did that? And then you're like, you start thinking, because I think at first everyone has the initial response of like, well, what didn't you get to do in that one?
Yeah.
I went back and I read my notes and I was like, I don't know. Like, I was happy with that film. And I guarantee you there were long conversations Scott and I had in the writing room being like, man, I wish we could do this, but we just didn't remember any of that. So it was kind of like we just looked at the character and said, okay, this is who we're keeping. This is who we're not keeping. If she's still going to be our lead and she's still going to like, what is her motivation from page one? And that just kind of dictated the rest of the story because we turned it on its head a bit. We just changed her motivation and then the movie was different. So it was like, okay, new movie, new stakes. It felt different.
New pig. Yeah.
Yeah. It was really my main goal to make it. I just wanted to work with a pig.
Anthony's
who doesn't?
With a pig. He was super. Yes.
Yeah.
He was.
I had other projects in the past.
So happy on set that day.
That's great.
And massive. I mean, it's hard to gauge. I think watching the movie how big that pig was.
Really?
It was like 650 pound.
Holy shit!
Animal.
Yes,
yeah, it was
huge,
pig.
but so sweet.
So sweet.
I know. Don't you just want to pet it?
Yeah, we did a lot.
Oh, we did.
Yeah, that's great. It'll have to be a new thing you can keep around in your rider. Like, okay, if I'm making this movie, we got to have a 600-pound pig somewhere to pet.
Got to be a pig. Doesn't need to be on camera, but it needs to be around all the time.
Deal breaker. So what are everybody's favorite cult movies? Like, not necessarily ones you pulled inspiration from for this one, but just in general, favorite cult movies.
Movies about cults.
Yeah.
Got to be really specific about it.
You're right. Yeah.
You go first, Natalie.
Okay. Well, so what's that one? I think it's called The Invitation.
Oh yeah. Great pick.
Oh, I just loved that. Oh, it's so good. Yeah. Because there's only like one person who's like paranoid the whole time.
It hurts to watch. You're like, just listen to him.
Just listen to the guy. And then that girl, was smart enough to get up and leave. And she's like, I'm not feeling very comfortable with this. Like, her alarm bells were going off.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the director just leaves it open-ended. And I would just like love to ask him, did she survive or did that guy go out there and like kill her?
Yeah.
Right.
because I
Yeah.
don't know.
No.
Could have gone either way.
Yes,
go.
yes.
Yeah, for me, like the Wicker Man is obviously kind of a staple of that
Yeah.
genre. I love, and I was really young when I saw the Wicker Man, and it was impactful. And then, but more recently, I've really grown to love Mandy a lot. I think when I first saw it, I saw Mandy a little bit after the fact, so it was already getting like a ton of buzz. And I watched it, and I was like, that movie's crazy, and like Nick Cage at his best, and like,
Yeah.
but I wasn't like so drawn to it. But then I watched it again, and I was like, man, I really like this movie, and started listening to the score more, and like watched it again, and I just, it's become like one of my favorites. It's such a good film.
I
Yeah, no,
agree.
they're great.
On the second viewing, it's one of those movies that, yes, it has layers.
Yeah.
And you really
Yeah.
can't take it all in that first sitting. You're just like, wow.
I know it's such an overload. I mean, to be honest, I've kind of found that about damn near every movie. Like my opinion always changes, but also that second viewing, you're seeing new things that you appreciate, which was actually kind of really interesting about Malum, right? Because I've seen The Last Shift. I really liked The Last Shift, and like I obviously, like, I'm thinking of that movie while watching this. But to your credit, I didn't find myself comparing it to The Last Shift at all while watching it. Like, it's its own movie.
Great.
That's great.
That's great.
That had to be real hard to accomplish.
Yeah, and that's always the biggest trepidation, was like, well, clearly people, because even like the guys were like, hey, you want to have a double feature and do like Last Shift Malum premiere? I was like, no. Like, no. It's the last thing I want.
Yeah. Maybe the opposite way. Do it the opposite way. Like,
I'm like, if you're gonna do it, it has to be Malum first.
Yeah.
And then, if people want to stick around, we'll do a Last Shift screening. Because you don't want fans of the first one to be like, why the hell did you do this? But I think because you said it, and like what I thought when we were making, I just never felt like I was making the same movie. Like, it was never, oh, I've been here before. It just didn't feel that way. Everything felt new and different. And even though, like, yes, a lot of the characters existed in the first film, everyone's intentions were just different. And I think we just were like, okay. And I also wanted new people to come in and be like, I don't know what Last Shift is. What's this movie Malum? Let me watch it. And may not never even know it's based on it, been based on something else.
Yeah.
I can definitely say, like, as a director, Anthony, like, impressed that upon all of the actors, as a unique experience, and especially on me, because I had done the same character, right? And Last Shift is that really, go there and make it something fresh and new, and take it to that kind of deeper level, and really just all those colors and all those notes, so that it is something fresh and new for a first audience, but also for the fans that love the other movie, they get something new. And so hopefully we accomplished that.
There's a lot of, this sounds like there's so much worry in your voice every time you bring it up.
I mean, with Jess Sula, who plays Jess in the movie, she has not watched the first one. She did in our first meeting. She had not watched it yet, and I was like, "Don't watch it. Don't ever watch it." Because as an actor, you don't ever want them to have even the scenes or anything in their mind that they're comparing themselves. That they can't be in the moment. And she still hasn't watched it. She'll probably watch it after the movie comes out and then go back and watch it.
Yeah.
And are cults enough in the, like, are we all aware of cults enough that you didn't have to really, watch footage of cults to nail down the culty speak and the culty performance? Or were there specific things you watched to get the crew, cast and yourself into character?
Well, in the first film, which is very much more Manson-esque in how to me, it was always at a very early stage, I was like, yeah, the Mansons are scary, but it'd be scarier if they were ghosts, right? Like that.
I mean, when you say it like that, shit, yeah.
Yeah, right. That was like my whole thing, like going into that movie. And so I sought out this documentary called Manson. It was made in 1973. It was never released.
Oh.
And at the time when I got it, I had to order it directly. I got it on eBay from one of the Manson members. He's the guy, he made the movie.
That's crazy.
And so he sent me the DVD and he like signed it, and it was creepy. It was like, but when they made this, so after they had been arrested, it was after the murders, and he made a documentary on the ranch with all the members, and it's such an inside look. I mean, it's so crazy to watch.
That's nice.
You have all the women talking, but then Squiggy Fromm attempted to assassinate the president. and
They'll put a wrench in your plans.
Yeah, wrench in the plans. And they essentially confiscated the film as state's evidence.
Yeah.
So it was nominated for an Academy Award that year, but no one saw it outside the industry until now. You can watch it on YouTube. So
right.
Manson, it's up on YouTube, Manson 1973. You'll know it the second it starts because it's just creepy. But for this movie, I did ask some of the cast to watch that again. I was like, you should check it out. It really puts you in the mindset of how these people were. But I think the biggest challenge was most cults, most like infamous cults, are very short-lived. Right? I mean, they burn out fast because something crazy happens. So for this one, I was like, well, they're not really the Manson family anymore. It's more they're almost like the Illuminati in a way. It's like it's a combo of you kind of have to answer that question. Well, they've been around for 30 years now. What would they be? I think like Clive Barker's Lord of Illusions kind of did that well.
Oh yeah.
You saw like they were a cult, but then their leader disappeared and they all kind of got married and had kids, and then he's back. So let's kill your family and join the cult. It's like they were always a cult.
Classic. Yeah.
Classic move. Kill your kids at the kitchen table. So there was that element. And we just wanted to create new phrases, new imagery that they weren't like, what didn't feel like a cult that was like, oh, they worship the devil, or oh, they're all going to commit suicide and like go to space or something. I didn't like. Ooh,
I like space. Sorry, I mean, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about cults going to space. I just immediately started building a sequel in my head where the whole cult's going to space.
MALUM in space.
Yeah,
that's got to be part 4. I think that's
got to work your way
reserved
up to it.
for part 4 of each franchise. Jason later in his years, but we all get there eventually.
And so having worked with Anthony before, did he seem less frustrated this time around? Like, was he more confident in what he was doing? Like, let's get some gossip going.
I wish I had some good gossip. He's always confident, which is kind of a little unnerving, right? As an actor, because he's always confident, no matter like what's going on inside. And there's always problems, or fires you got to like put out, but he's always really confident. And so you're like, wow, he really knows what he's doing. It's unnerving, but then it's also calming, right? Because you're like, okay, yeah, he knows what he wants. Unnerving, I say, because as an actor, you're like, oh no, he knows what he wants. Like, I better deliver.
I'm gonna do what he wants.
I'm on the line here.
So, and he was like that on this one too. And it's interesting. The vibe and the energy is different because, of course, it was just a bigger reimagining. So there were different sets. I got to do stunts this time, which I love doing. I always do stunts in my movies.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah, as long as the producers and director allow. So I'm like, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like, oh, sorry, go ahead, continue.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say like stunts and special effects would definitely be like the biggest thing, other than the story expansion. I think that people would recognize as a difference between the two. Yeah, let's talk to me a little bit more about stunts and special effects.
Yeah, I mean, obviously special effects, being able to do practical is an actor's dream because it's so real and visceral, and it really kind of brings that in. And I do think fans, like that stuff more, and are surprised by it a little bit because obviously in today's culture where we're at now for filmmaking, almost everything's computerized, and there's
Yeah.
so many amazing things you can do digitally. But I still think there's a place for the practical as well, and that place is horror.
Yeah.
And that was really fun. And then of course doing stunts is amazing because I mean there's nothing that's going to get you into that headspace of that character than flying out of a moving car. Like, it's like, come on.
The real snap to reality moment.
Oh, yes. So I love doing that stuff. And I love that there are more stunt people, making films like the John Wick guys, which is amazing. And I'd love to like expand as an artist and be able to do more stunts and take on roles people wouldn't normally think for me. And I think, and that's what I love working about with Anthony. And this is the second time I've worked with him. And this was a unique situation with a unique character. And he just really pushes you to a level that perhaps is a little uncomfortable for you. A lot.
That's how you get the reaction.
A lot uncomfortable. But it brings out the best and pushes you to that limit, which is, what I'm looking for as an artist is I just want to grow and continue to, experience that and go to those places. And so, yeah, I mean, that's how he is on set. He does get crabby when he's hungry though. That's a good gossip.
So I intentionally don't eat all day long.
Just to be crabby.
Just to be crabby. You got to set that tone, right?
He was like still just as food because she'd always have snacks, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And he would steal her snacks. He'd be like, "Give me that."
At lunch, I'd sit around the actors and I'd put the fork to my mouth and then I just let it hit my face. They knew, they're like, "Oh, he's just gonna get crabbier with each bite he's not taking."
Got to make a notorious film set. Yeah. I mean, at least you're not like firing guns off to shock people or anything.
Yeah, true.
He does get excited when the guns come out.
Who doesn't?
All above line, all above the board here.
That's true. That's true.
And how about working with the Russells on the practical effects, Anthony? What was that like?
Yeah, I mean, they had a challenge because it was like the script was so dense with effects, and we make our kind of like priorities top down.
Yeah.
And they had so much to do in a very short amount of time. But also I think I knew going in pre-production that we wanted to allocate good resources for the effects guys, and that we could deliver on these major like moments that we knew had to hit. So
yeah,
it was great. I mean, their design work going in, I would do some rough sketches and then they would take it further and then send me an email. It's like, here's a finished thing. I was like, holy shit, that looks great. Like
right on.
It was funny because like some of them I saw no like in between. It was just like, here's our sketch and here it's done. And I'm like, whoa, like that looks awesome. So it's kind of like I kind of got to experience that without seeing the growth of it. Like, okay, well, there's that Temple Baron character, and he's gonna look awesome on film.
Oh yeah, that's got to be cool to be surprised by it. Because I mean, like obviously the audience was too. It's rare to hear that the director is surprised as well.
Yeah, I'm like, oh yeah. Well, it's funny because I did like a very crude sketch of it, and they almost captured that in a weird way, like
right on
crudity of it.
Yeah, no, they do great work.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a good
not that I've worked with them or anything, but I mean, I've seen a lot of their movies.
Yeah.
So I mean, I like to ask everybody this question, and I always find that it's a good closer. You can answer together or separately; it's totally up to you. But if you could play any two movies at a drive-in, like your dream double feature, what would you play? Could be movies that you think would pair well with Malum. Could just be two movies you've always wanted to see on the big screen.
Why to go?
Yeah.
I mean, I have, if I was putting together a double feature, it would have to be Point Break and Lost Boys.
Oh, hell yeah. Love this. I'm buying a ticket to that movie.
Yeah.
that night.
Yeah. Summer evening and a drive-in. I just feel like that's the perfect night right
I'm
there.
going to go with that too. That's a good choice.
That's my choice.
I'm going to go. I'll tell you why, because I'm a big fan first and foremost. I mean, that's why I in the industry, I've seen thousands of movies. And so I don't think I could even pick. Like, it's just too hard.
Right?
Like,
I know. It's
I'm not a curator. This is why I have to like, because I'm not good at curating.
Well, we actually did this during the pandemic. Like,
oh, we did. That's true.
We curate because I was like,
and I was horrible at it.
I said every week we curate. We switched weekends. We curate our own double feature.
Oh, that's cool.
No questions asked. Like, you have to watch what I pick, and then I know what she picked.
Yeah,
love that.
Yeah,
yeah.
Good. It's good. Start that with your friends and family.
Yeah, no, I love that idea. I like to
Alien Aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, that's if those were the double features playing at 2 screens at the drive-in, I don't know which one I'd pick. That's real hard. I might like watch one and then look out the other window to watch the other one.
Yeah.
That old trick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. I really appreciate it. And and I know people are gonna love Malum when they finally get a chance to see it on the fucking big screen.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, congrats.
Thank you. Thank
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. There he is.
That was a great interview. That was great.
Awesome.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good day, guys.
Thanks.